Okay, we don't know what we're doing, but here's your nutty younger sister.
No, I'm not his younger sister.
Oh, no, that's right. You're older than he is.
I'm older than he is. He's our baby, but well, technically, he's a middle kid. But he only got to play that role for a short period of time, a little less than 16 years, and so in 1973, when God called John Edward home, then Bill went back to being our baby brother, and so most of his life he's been our baby brother. And Cherry's the oldest, so we get this right, you know. And me, I'm a middle kid. I've always been a middle kid. And middle kids are weird. Maybe we're a little crazy. And so I've resurrected my role as Miss Hattie. I did this, about 12 and a half years ago when Bill was a little bit younger. We kind of did a little something for his birthday. Well, I decided that we were. Jerry told me we were going to do this, and I decided that we would have fun doing it, and so I had to revise this role. I had to get all the right parts and things like that, and each one of these hats kind of represents a time in my life. And I'm sure that's the way it's been for Bill and Hazel. A few years ago, William, my husband, introduced me to the state of Mississippi and a few of the folks therein. And I learned two very important things. And the first thing that I learned was, number one, if I didn't know what they were talking about, I did not ask any questions. I waited until I got William by himself to ask my silly question. Because the first two times that I did that, I was about this tall when they finished with me. Thoroughly embarrassed myself. The second thing that I learned was that if I was going to be involved with these folks very much, I had to learn the language. Well, we know where Bill started. And we know that Hazel was on an island for most of her life, and I can't even imagine what that's like. So probably the first thing that they had to do is they had to learn the language, because communication is so key to a good marriage. I don't care what you do. If you don't talk to each other and talk about things, you won't be here 50 more years. And we're expecting that. So I got to get these hats off so we can talk about some of this. Now this hat, right here, the story behind this one, it didn't always look like this. And it's been in the San Antonio River. One of the nephews from Mississippi came over one time, and we went down on the river barge, and he wore this hat, and it blew off in the river, and the guy, the guy running the tour guide or whatever he's called, and he just fished it right up out of there, and I took it home and kind of dried it out and kind of straightened out the brim a little bit and all like that. So I'm sure that somewhere in Bill and Hazel's married life, they've had an experience like that where they kind of got dunked, but they saved it. And then, let me see what's. I don't remember what this one is, but I got it. See, I love hats, but I have trouble finding them because I have a peanut brain and they don't fit. Anyhow, this one's it's just there because it's there and I liked it, and it's green. Now this is one of my favorites. This one right here. It didn't come with the band. I got that from the band was shoestrings that we got at a festival in Kerrville, and the hat I got from Cracker Barrel, and it came with the shirt, and it's got a little tag over here in case I forget it, because this is my genuine antique person hat, and it says right there, been there, done that, and can't remember. So I figured they're getting about as old as I am and having some of the same kind of problems. Now, let me get back down. Let's go from the bottom here. When William and I first got married and we started going to Mississippi, he told me they gonna show me all kinds of different things, and his brother, his oldest brother, was going to take me fishing and like that, and William said I had to have a hat. Well, I had trouble finding a hat. So we went to, I think it was People's store there in Water Valley, and in the kids department, and we found this little hat that fit me. You know, because most of them kind of go, you know, if it wasn't for my ears, they just go down around my neck. And so anyhow, that's where I got this hat, so it's been around for a long time, and I kind of like it. And then, when William and I moved out to you know, you got to start someplace, so that's what we started with. When William and I moved out to the Reeves Ranch, is what we called it, we bought that place. We'd been married about 6 months, and we bought that place, you know. That was a big deal. It cost more than a year's salary. Anyhow, William planted a garden because he's a Mississippi farm boy, and I had to have a hat. And, you know, we had to have one that worked really good and kept the sun off your ears and stuff so that you didn't get skin cancer on your ears and things of that nature. I use this hat too on my bag lady routine. It works real well. It's kind of floppy, but I have to be careful because it's kind of big. See what I mean? Just kind of goes down there where you can't see none. Anyhow, and let's see, this one, I just liked it because it was blue. It's kind of like our cars. For the longest time, all we got was blue cars. I don't care what kind they were, it's just blue cars. Well, I just liked this hat because it was blue. And sometimes in your married life, you just like doing something because you just like it. And it's okay if you do. And this is a relatively new thing. And this is a mushroom hat. And you see why we call it that. Well, Cherry took me, you know, she's the oldest, so she's the boss. She took me to Spring, Texas, and we were in this little quilt shop, and we found this hat, and I liked it because it had Texas stuff on it, you know, and like that. But when I first put it on, it was too big, and I was about to be devastated. And that lady said, "Wait a minute, it's adjustable." I got all excited, and we adjusted it, and doggone if it didn't fit then. And so, I got it. And then Cherry, the nerd, she's a nerd, you know. And so what I did was she took it apart and made us a pattern. And so then we made some more for our shop hop and things like that. And so we kind of like that. And so, that's kind of the story on the hats.
Except I'm going to add one thing. Guess where there's a whole bunch of them out in Hawaii with Texas fabric on them. I wonder who wanted those.
Yes, because see, she made some for Hazel, and Hazel took them to Hawaii. Ain't that cool? Now the other thing about this get-up is we also have to dress up some. Hold on a minute. Now,
Here she is again.
see, you thought I was going away, but not yet. Because, like I told you, I'm crazy. Because middle kids are crazy. You see, sometimes, burn with that mushroom hat. Sometimes, you know, when you want to dress up and play Florence Floozy or somebody like that, well, you have to hold it by the brim. Now, what we did this last year for Shop Hop, I took some red, white, and blue of these things and put them on my other mushroom hat. Uh-oh, I got it backwards. Well, so, that's really supposed to be in the back. So let's just put it in the back. What do you think?
There you go.
Anyhow, so if you dress up or something like that, well, you know, you can always do things like that. Well, I don't know how I did this. Who cares? So, the next thing I thought I'd do is, some of this is from, again, my Mississippi experience. And Jerry will tell you that I really did learn the language really well. She says, she keeps pointing to the camera. I forget where it is. Anyhow, because this is my first time doing this. And, anywho, Jerry and Max and I have been on a couple of trips, and we've gone through Mississippi. She says, yeah, as soon as we cross the border into Mississippi, she says, you sound just like them. So I guess I do, especially if I get excited. So anyhow, I got a couple of 3 stories I'm going to tell you. The first one is called The Zipper. Well, you know, I ought to do the disclaimer first, oughtn't I?
Yeah, you better.
Yeah, she's trying not to laugh, but it's okay. So the disclaimer would go something like this. We're doing this video to help Bill and Hazel celebrate their anniversary. And we want to have some fun doing it. So if you like this or anything, then we expect you to laugh in all the appropriate places. And it's okay. If you don't like it, too bad, so sad. We expect you to applaud the effort, and other than that, just keep your mouth shut. And quite frankly, we don't really care. So, now, the first story we're going to tell is The Zipper. Now you, if you want to, close your eyes, but you got to picture this. This is really good. Here's the city street. Bus pulls up. There's this lady. She is in a form-fitting leather skirt. Comes up to about right there above her knee. Of course, it depends on where your knee is, too. You know, she had on high-heel leather boots. She had on a shiny blouse that accented her assets. You know, kind of like the Dolly Parton look. Anyhow, her makeup was immaculate, just perfect. Every strand of hair was exactly where it was supposed to be. I mean, she looked like she just walked off the page of Vogue. That's how good that lady looked. And standing right behind her was this big, tall Texan. And now, I'm kind of partial to hairy-legged boys myself, so he looked really good. He real tall, you know, like Max, over 6'4", something like that. Broad at the shoulder and narrow at the hips and everybody. Sorry, I digress. Anyhow, he had pearl snaps on his western shirt, hand-tooled leather belt with the requisite championship buckle of some kind. Dress jeans creased down the middle, boot cut. He had on black boots with a modified riding heel. I mean, he looked fine. And this lady was wanting to get on that bus. And that bus driver sitting up in there, you know how they do, looking in the door, just kind of giving it one of those, you know. And she said to herself, she said, see, if that step was kind of high, and that skirt was kind of restricting her movement. So she figured she'd reach back there and lower that zipper, and that skirt kind of ride up a little bit, don't you know? And well, that didn't work. So she reached back there again and zipped it down a little more, she thought, and tried it again. Well, that didn't work. And the bus driver just, you know, said, what's going on here? And so she reached back there and lowered that zipper again and tried it again. It didn't work. About that time, that cowboy right behind her, he just grabbed her by the waist like that, picked her up and set her up in that bus. Oh my gosh. She went off on him. She whipped around. Who do you think you are? How dare you put your hands on me? Just who do you think you are? And that big tall Texan kind of ducked his head a little bit and he said, ma'am, in his best southern drawl, he said, ma'am, you undid my fly 3 times and I figured we was friends. and that's when the bus driver lost it. All right. Now, the next two, is from a guy named Jerry Clapper. And some of you may remember him. He kind of influenced me just a little bit because, well, some people tried to say that he was a comedian, but he wasn't that. No, he wasn't. He used to say he was a fertilizer salesman from Yazoo, Mississippi. And that's about the truth of it, too. He was a Christian, and he wasn't a comedian. He was a storyteller. And thing of it is, he told true stories. He just told about things that happened, but he had such a way of telling them that they were kind of funny. You know, so, anyhow, somewhere along about 1975, he wrote this book called Ain't God Good? And one of the stories in there, it's just kind of my favorite. We got that book and I was reading that book at night. William was working nights then, and so I was by myself and I started reading that thing and I lost it in there somewhere. And I'm just laughing and carrying on all there by myself, you know. People thought I was crazy. Of course I am, so I guess that worked out all right. So anyhow, the story goes something like this. One of the things in Mississippi is that it's kind of one of the poorest states in the Union. So they got to make do with everything they have, and everything they have has purpose. And they used to raise corn, field corn, and they put it up to feed the stock and take some of it to the grist mill to get cornmeal and make cornbread and stuff like that. So it's very important to keep the rats out of there. So sometimes you know you gotta have fun where you can have fun, and so not only these kids go out there and you get the rats out of there, but it was because you need to save the crop and stuff like that. But also it's kind of entertainment for the kids. So one day, son and his brother decide they going out to the corn crib and they gonna get those rats out there. And so they was just in the big middle of, chasing them down, whopping them, stomping them, jobbing them, and all that kind of stuff. And anyhow, Sonny got one of the biggest ones they ever seen. I mean, he worked him over. He got it. And he says, I got to show Mama. He grabbed that sucker up. And he go charging into the house. And he, Mama! And she says, in here. And she's in the living room. He goes charging in there. He says, Mom, look here, what a big old thing I think. And I jobbed him, and I stomped him, and I whopped him, and about that time, Sonny spied the Baptist preacher what come calling. Well, he hugged that thing up to him, commenced to petting on him and stroking him like that. He says, and then the Lord called him home. Now, you know, Sonny was probably wishing he was someplace else about that time. So sometimes we maybe have to be a little careful when we do things. If we don't want somebody seeing us, maybe we ought not to be doing it. Anyhow, Jerry went on to explain some of that in his book, but no, you can't borrow my copy of the book, because last time I let somebody borrow a copy of one of my books, I didn't ever get it back. And it was a signed copy too. So anyhow, now let's see. The next story. Our grandmother, on our mother's side, Granny Winch, like 26 days being 100 years old when she passed away. And this next story was one of her favorites. And it kind of is mine too. The thing about it is, when Jerry Clower would tell these stories, I could close my eyes and I would be there. Wherever he was telling about this story, that rat killing, I could see that barn. Because William took me to one of those barns. I mean, I could see it. I just, and I could just see Miss Minnie Reeves sitting in the living room, and one of those boys dragging in that big old rat. I could just see it. Well, when Jerry Clower talked about that one-room schoolhouse, I was down at Orwood. I saw it. I was there. And some of the best squirrel hunting is in that bottom right down from Orwood too, just in case you want to know. And so anyhow, here's how this story goes. School had started. And school started at 8 o'clock. And back then, you know, if you're supposed to be there at 8 o'clock, you better be there at 8 o'clock. And Professor Turner was running the school then, and when we say running the school, we meant it. If the kid messed up in school or didn't do something that they were supposed to, or if they did something exceptional, good, either way, then that professor or that teacher visited his parents. And the parents were, if he messed up, the parents were expected to correct it. And so, I forget which one of them it was. It might have been Sonny, or one of the Leadbed Bar, Mooreseal maybe. I don't know. Anywho, one of them didn't show up for school. And it was getting on 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and where was that boy? And Professor Turner just, man, he was getting upset because he knew he was going to be having to go visit those folks, you know. And so it's about 10:30. Here's the boy coming in school. Takes off his hat, he's going to go to his seat. Professor Turner said, "Boy," points right there. He knows, man. He gets his nose leaking up to the desk. And Professor Turner says, "Boy, what's the reason for this?" Well, son, he said, "Prof. Turner, I'll tell you. Well, you see, we've been having something getting in the hen house. And so Papa started sleeping with the double barrel shotgun there by the bed, and he's wanting to get that whatever's getting in the hen house. Now, you got to know Papa only sleeps in a nightshirt. He don't sleep in nothing else. He just sleeps in the nightshirt. So last night, Papa heard a ruckus. And so he grabs that double barrel shotgun. He goes out that side of the house. He goes around the house, and he's going to go around the corner. And he's ready because he's wanting to get that thing. And he's on the dead ready. And then, you know that old hound we got, old Brumley? Well, just as Papa rounded that corner, you know he don't sleep in nothing but a nightshirt, nothing else. Well, about that time, old Brumley cold-nosed him up under that nightshirt, and we've been picking chickens ever since. So that's wear it out, make do, or do without. And so let's see. Boss, do we have anything else? You know, she's a nerd.
No, we don't have anything else, but I want to tell you, Bill and Hazel, all we can say is the very, very best. And I hope you enjoy our silly, silly nonsense, but it is so much fun doing something silly like this. So have a good time at your party. And Christina, thanks for putting this together, and I'm sorry we couldn't make it this time. But I guarantee you, if you have another one in another 5 years or 10 years or whenever you celebrate a special one, you let us know.
Yeah, you know, sometimes as you get older, you have to learn to pace yourself. And I kind of move at a slow pace more, especially when I retired. I didn't ever move very fast anyway. But so I need to know sooner rather than later.
Anyways.
Because we don't know what she's got me into.
I know, and I had her sign this up back in March. But anyways, y'all have a fantastic time. Enjoy the party. Tell everybody hello. And we wish you the very, 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 very best of everything. And hope you have many, many more years.
Thank you very much, Miss Hazel.
Bye.